Hey guys, welcome to our Tactical Tuesday.
We are on site today. We are on location in Northeast Edmonton at a complex that taught us
A lot of lessons.
It was one of the best teachers that we could possibly ever have had. And today we have got a whole group with us. So where did Rochelle go? Yeah, still through, Raimi.
There we go.
And Raimi's behind the camera right now, but we'll introduce him to you guys for those of you that don't know him. But hey guys, we are going to do a walkthrough of this property. We're going to show you these properties were our nemesis for a long time. They made me cry more than probably anything in the last 15 years, including him. They they really were, when you look at it from an investment point of view, you think, man, these numbers didn't work out. This didn't go well.
Yeah.
But we're going to break down the numbers.
We're going to look at the numbers and see exactly how did it turn out. $22,000 was how much was invested in this property when we bought it back in 2006, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, how much money was made on it, and we're going to run through those numbers so you have a good idea.
So we're also going to get these are all Igniteds here in Edmonton, and then we have Drew Kardash from the Alberta on Fire investor team. We are going to get everyone's opinion as we walk through, and what would you do here? Would you put money in? Would you not? Would you sell it as is? Would you strip it? Raimi from Technicon is here. He's professional at making sure our tenants are happy. So, getting all the different opinions is good. So that's what we're going to do today.
So as we go through this, guys, if we're asking a question, throw it in the comments. What would you do? What do you think should be done? We're looking for other people's advice on this. This is a property that we've had for 15 years now. Sometimes when you have a property for that long, you start just looking at it differently. Whereas we're looking for fresh eyes. We're looking for eyes from our Ignited members. We're looking for the eyes from you guys. So throw it in the comments. Let us know what you think, and we'll make some decisions after.
So, and just a side note is it's always good when you're emotionally attached to something. So again, 15 years. We've never put any money into these places. They've barely had any vacancy at all. They've always rented really quick. But when you're so emotionally attached, you can't always necessarily make the right decisions. So that's where we're going to get all these objective opinions to help us out, figure out what exactly to do with this property. We think we know the answer. We think we know what we want to do, but we're going to stop and listen to the experts in this room to tell us what they figure. So
awesome. Okay, well, I'll jump behind the camera. There's Raimi. Say hello.
Hello.
There we go. All right, good. All right, where are we starting?
Okay, so we'll do a quick run through and just kind of show the type of place it is. So it's a 3-bedroom condo. We are in West Edmonton. I want to tell you a little bit of the backstory of this place. We bought 60 of these places that we committed to buying way back in the day, and then we assigned them out. So that was part of our ability to stay full-time investing, because we were making assignment fees on these properties. But we kept 7, I think it was, and my dad kept 3. So I've been running these properties now myself, self-managing, for 15 years, since 2006, was it?
Yep.
16 years, whatever.
15 years.
So these properties have been tough, but we haven't had to put a penny in. You want to take it?
Sure, let's go.
All right. Okay, guys, so you guys, all our Igniteds here. Can you guys see this? You want to show this one? See in the kitchen? Can you see the cupboard?
Can you see? Okay. There's some marks on it, that kind of thing. Is that what you're trying to point out?
Yeah. So really, this probably should be replaced. Okay, if we want top dollar for it. See this? Like, it looks great in the pictures. You don't see this stuff in the
pictures actually look phenomenal.
They look phenomenal. We use prep tours for our pictures, and they just do an amazing job. However, this kitchen, is it a replace, or is it leave it, who cares, slash your price, get rid of the property?
So,
any opinions?
Opinions, guys. Who would gut this and put a whole new kitchen in? Who would do a little touch up? And who would just sell it the way it is? We have an immediate sell it the way it is. Anybody else have an opinion they'd like to share?
I do a touch up.
You do a touch up, Raimi?
Yeah.
If you were to do a touch up, what little things would you do?
Just if those are paintable cabinets, you can paint them, or if they're melamine, you could also get some melamine paint. Also maybe a little bit of a backsplash or something to pull your eye away from the cabinets maybe. Just make sure your toe kicks are good and the baseboards are painted and not chewed on and not swollen in the corners. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Nice.
So when to do that, what kind of cost would you say you put what, $1,000 into the kitchen? Maybe less?
Yeah, maybe less.
Okay.
It depends on how much manpower you're doing yourself and how much you're not. But
Right.
if you're a kind of a handyman, a little towel could go a long ways.
Yeah.
Just make sure if you're doing a peel stick, your lines are square, I'd
Yeah.
say. Because otherwise it makes it really look like a DIYer.
Absolutely.
So,
Do you recommend anyone doing a peel
No.
and stick though? No, I don't either.
No.
Peel and stick tiles, guys, you end up sticking to them and the glue comes through and yeah, you if you have to, fine, but don't if you can. This right here, this would be our fix if we chose to. Hey, Amy.
Oh, we have another ignited. Hi, Amy.
Hey. This would be our fix. So we would just get new doors. We would leave these up, and we would just, because these are IKEA, they come off super easy. We would just be getting new doors. Sorry, and at a cost of it was $280 for the kitchen.
For all new doors.
For all new
and
doors.
drawer fronts.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you go from having these, and I mean, they look okay on the camera, but they're not okay. So that would be our fix. Again, we'll let you know what we're planning to do with this property toward the end of the tour. We'll let you know how the numbers worked out. This property has only gone up by $8,000 in 15 years. 15 years of
So
managing.
we'll get through the numbers a little bit later, but yes, $111,000 in 2006 is what this was bought for. And
2006.
right now it is listed for $119,000. So, when we hear that, now I've owned a property for 15 years and it's gone up $8,000. What a waste of time might be the first thing that goes through our head. But what kind of money was made on it? Well, we'll run through those numbers a little later.
And show you how it enables you to do so much more. So sometimes we don't have a choice of where we start. We did not have a choice of where we started. We didn't have money, we didn't have, ability to qualify. We assumed this mortgage, so that was great. It was low money down. So sometimes we have to do what we have to do. And how does it all work out? So we'll do the numbers after, but let's take another.
Okay, so any other opinions on the kitchen? Would anybody else do something other than, I love the idea that Rainey mentioned about the backsplash, just throwing something into the backsplash or onto the wall, very inexpensive, would make a big difference, take your eye away from the cabinets. Okay, anything else?
I'm assuming with new doors you do new doorknobs so that it's
New door,
Probably
new
something
doorknobs.
flashier.
Yeah.
Yeah, something a little more modern. Even gold right now. Gold is all like I would paint this light, this silver in here. I would paint that gold, and I would do these golds. And like all of a sudden you've got this cute little trendy little kitchen, maybe with some black on the light somewhere. But yeah, super simple, super cheap. Dennis, what do you say?
Oh, I'm just easy button, reduce price and sell.
Yeah.
Because to me, once you start doing stuff in order to really to get the most value for a home, it's got to be, what's the word? The same. Right? So upstairs, downstairs should be similar. So
Yeah.
to me, if I started on this, I don't know where I would stop.
Yeah.
And for me, it's all about opportunity costs. So I would want to know, what am I doing with this capital when I'm pulling it out? If I don't have a place for it, I might just hold this for another 15 years. If I
Yeah.
have another place for it, then I just hit the easy button, let's get out and put our energies, our mental energies in another project.
Yeah, I love that. Mental
Yeah.
energies. It's not always about dollars and cents, is it? Simon suggests adding a hood vent. So Simon, you can't see it, but I'm going to just zoom up where the hood vent in this property is. Believe it or not, it's on the roof.
Anyone see it?
And you turn on the little hood vent with that little switch down there.
You guys can
But yeah, hood vent might look better.
Hey, Drew.
Yes.
Do you want to come and talk to us about what the comps are and what Edmonton's market is doing? And so Drew is from the Alberta On Fire investor team. That's who has this listed for us. So what's going on? Look at everyone run. So what's going on comps wise? What is, we've had this listed for 6 weeks now or something like that. What's going on with showings? What's the problem? What are we hearing? And why isn't it selling? Give us kind of a rundown.
Well, there are 9 for sale in this complex right now, and the prices are between 110 and 135. And there have been 4 3-bedrooms sold in the last 3 months, and they've ranged between $110,000 and $132,000.
Okay. And that's out of 260 units that
Yeah.
are in this
Yeah.
big complex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not many.
It's not many.
Yeah.
Not many at all. And there are varying differences in the renovation level. Some are better. Some are less done than this. And yeah, there's a few to choose from right now. And
Where does ours sit though? Like, let's say on a scale, like let's say the nicest one is a 10 and the most terrible one is a 1. Where are we?
as far as what's out there right now,
Okay, you can say.
probably like a 3.
Yeah. A 4. Dennis is a realtor as well. He's also an investor, and he figured a 4. So,
Yeah.
okay, so why isn't it selling?
So let's just back up a minute. What's in general with condo/townhouses in Edmonton? Are they ripping off the shelves? Is the market super hot? Is it super cold? In general, what's happening?
I'd say condos are not moving nearly as quickly as single-family homes. With the insurance and the condo fees going up, condos have had a bad go in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, though, I feel like condos in the next couple of years are going to somewhat come back a little bit with the tightening on the qualification process and everything like that. It's going to move some of those people out of the single-family home realm back into the condo realm, especially townhouses. That's where it'll probably start.
Well, and now, I mean, I'm looking at this and I say, okay, well, it's a property that you can buy for $120,000. How many markets in Canada can you buy a property for $120,000 that has 3 bedrooms, that has, a full basement as well, lots of
and
space for
they're
the family?
rented. So this one we have is on the cash flow sheet. We have it as $11.50 for rent. Okay, so we're being a little bit conservative because the other 2 that we have that are just like in this
Same complex,
but just different units. One is rented at $1,200. One is rented at $1,250. Both have had tenants. This tenant was in here for 6 or 7 years, I'm sure. Number 9, don't worry, there's a million number 9, so I'm not giving anything away. They've probably been in there for 5 or 6 years, and this guy's been in there for 11 years.
Yeah.
In number 5.
So the tenants that we've had in these units, for the most part, have stayed fairly long term.
Oh yeah.
And
they've been paying-
Megan says that $120,000 is a down payment in BC. Yeah, exactly. That's a down payment in most investments these days.
Okay,
But
but
add a tiny bit on the rental front
yeah.
for people making decisions as
Yeah.
to whether it's a good purchase or not. Whenever we have a townhouse for rent, we have people filling out applications before we even show the place,
Nice.
as compared to any sort of suited.
Nice.
It's the essence of your own space.
Right.
There may be someone attached to the side, but rarely do you hear that person.
Right.
There's just something about townhouses that
People don't want that up-down suited house necessarily, but they can't afford to go into their own house on their own. So a townhouse is,
and even a tiny little bit of their own yard, even if it's only a postage stamp size,
yeah.
it's still all theirs. It's not shared and those types of things. So
Fully
we're finding
fenced,
with townhouses, people are pretty much fighting to rent them.
Yeah.
If that is a decision when it comes to your investing.
For sure. Awesome. So Rochelle is here in Edmonton. She's boots on the ground for investors from across the country. Give us a quick rundown of what you do, Rochelle.
Oh, anything wild and crazy. We do shopping for out-of-town investors. We do databases for your properties. We find tenants. We do everything under the sun.
Awesome. So Rochelle Ross, one of our Ignited members, you guys can find her here in the Fearless group.
Yep. You gotcha.
Excellent. So somebody asked about the condo fees. Yes, there's condo fees in this property. Currently, they're $340 a month. So that's what the condo fees are on this. So you're buying a property for $120,000. If you're putting 20% down, $24,000. Come on, Tiff, numbers.
I don't know. Here,
And
turn on the cash
then, so $24,000 to get into a property like this. And so a lot cheaper than other parts of the country. Okay, let's continue the tour. Somebody suggested too with this light, maybe putting a flush mounted light up onto the ceiling. It would help to increase the head space in here.
That's
maybe
true.
make the ceiling look a little bit taller.
That's true.
So that was one of the other suggestions someone had here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
love
to
it.
say the amount of empty properties that I go into that I'm hitting the dining room light is far too frequent.
Yeah.
Huh, see, and I don't have that problem. Even when I wear the heels.
Taller hair.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, Tiff, let's go.
Okay,
What
keep
else?
going. So guys, guys, remember, we haven't put any money into this property. We've had it for 15 years, and we put in $200 to get that fixed from a little bit of water damage, but we haven't done anything to this property. So,
I wonder if anybody has a comment about the telephone line on the exterior of the wall.
oh yeah, hey? I never even noticed, see?
Yeah, see, we don't notice
See
those things,
stuff
right?
anymore, right? So check out the floors.
Okay.
Again, guys, the floors look fine. They look great-ish in pictures, but in person, what do you guys see?
Yeah, it's flaking and
Flaking, breaking. Would you want to live here? No, Amy? What? Okay, so, little things, a little bit of flooring wouldn't cost much for us to get done. It would not cost much,
Yeah,
but are we going to do
the
it?
whole square footage
We'll
of
tell
this
you our
entire
plan at the
condo
end.
is around 800 square feet, I think, for the upstairs and the downstairs. So it's not a lot of square footage if you are putting in new flooring.
Yeah, for sure. But are we going to do it? Because it's not about the money sometimes. Dennis gave you a little bit of a hint there, but what's our plan? What are we actually going to do? Drew's probably very curious to know.
Good
So-
point, Joan. Joan says, I don't think telephone jacks are even needed anymore.
Right?
I agree.
Cut it out.
There's no purpose, really, for most of us anyways.
Yeah.
We're going upstairs now, guys.
Yeah, I want to be in the room when they all see the built-in.
So here is bedroom number 1. There's 3 bedrooms up here. Bedroom number 1, let's get a good view. You can go in, hon. Okay.
So we need a paint job up here and downstairs, obviously. Paint job is it was about $2,800, okay? Trim, walls, ceilings, everything painted, $2,800. Notice we have not done it. So right now, we're looking at, we've talked about $8,000 in renovations that we've talked about so far that would completely change this place that we could be doing if we chose to. What do you guys think, Ignited?
where does one put the bed?
Right? Yeah. So if you can believe it, we have rented these places out and people put queen size beds in here for years, 15 years, yeah. They
So what do you think about the dresser? Would you keep the dresser or take it out? I see a
Take it out,
couple
take it
people
out. How many votes
motioning
do we
to
have?
take it out.
Can you see it, Leona? Out.
looking at this one.
Out. Yeah. So it's all for out. See, and honestly, I can tell you right now, I don't know the answer to that because I'm too emotionally invested in this. I'm like, 15 years ago when we bought these places, people wanted them. They worked. They made it so no one had to have a dresser. Am I totally messed up now doing this? It's amazing how you get skewed in your own brain and you can no longer see the forest for the trees. So that's part of why we invited our pros along with us today to be able to tell us, what would you do? And then we're going to tally it all up and figure it out.
Okay, so some of the comments are take it out, take it out. Some would say get rid of it, unless you're going to change the drawer fronts. Brian suggested putting a mirror closet door on to make the room look bigger. So those are some of the suggestions. Simon made a comment about it being a baby change table. So if this could be a baby's room because it's small anyways.
Well, and legitimately, Simon, our tenant demographic for this is a young family. Often it's newcomers to Canada, so I'll tell you a little story about that, where we were renting these places out at first, and even though they're not great places, we still require kind of a high tenant demographic for this place. And so it was harder to find people that would rent. So we started going to, not far from here is a newcomers center. And they come to Canada, oftentimes they have a few kids, many of them are refugees. They just need a warm, safe place. They're coming from terribleness. So they also get help with the first rent for the first 6 months or maybe year. They also get help getting jobs, all that kind of stuff. So we started filling all of these properties from that newcomer center. We were happy to give them a great place and to live, and they were happy to have a safe place to live. And really, this dresser thing, it was the tenant demographic.
One less piece of furniture to purchase, right?
They had one less thing to purchase, yeah. And it was kids. They often had lots of kids. So sometimes you leave things because, it fits your tenant demographic that it wouldn't otherwise. So what do you guys think? Did you take a peek around?
Okay, let's continue the tour.
Let's do another quick. Okay.
Yeah.
So as you can see, we are like stacked in here like sardines. Okay, you can just take a peek at that one.
Okay, bedroom number 2. Same similar setup. Bedroom number 2. And then we have bedroom number 3, which is massively huge. No, I'm kidding. But it's much bigger than the other 2.
So we had another investor that had places in here, and they had their tenants. This wall here, I went inside. They put a hole through the wall so that they could get between the bedrooms.
It was actually between bedroom 1 and 2. I remember that.
Was it? I
Yeah.
thought it was this wall.
No.
So that they could get in and out without disturbing each other.
Yeah.
So when people say, why are you so strict on your tenant demographic, even though these places, when we talk about the places, you guys will hear us say this quite a bit. We bought lots of places right, and it was amazing, but we bought a lot of places wrong. These were the places that we bought wrong, but we didn't know any better. So 15 years in, managing them ourselves, figuring it out, they were the best teacher we could have asked for. But would we buy them again? At that time, heck no, we would not. Now the complex is completely different. So, I didn't say, so when we bought them from the people we bought them from, they had basically a business plan of bringing people in from subsidized housing where they would get first month's rent and damage deposit paid up front for them. They would then default by the second month. These guys would have them out the doors. Like, I don't know how they got them out so fast, but it wasn't legal. They would have them out the doors and re-rented for double rent again. So that was their business model, was cycling these people through. So we had a really, really tough tenant demographic. I had to sit on the condo board on this one because it was so difficult for so many years.
Okay, what else is up here? Bathroom?
Let's
have a quick peek. All right.
Alright, just the bathroom. Fine.
There we go.
Right?
Fairly straightforward.
Would anyone do anything in here?
What would you do in here?
I would leave this myself, but anything, Dennis, maybe?
What do you guys think? What would you do with this bathroom? Anything?
What would I do?
Nope. It's not too bad.
This is the nicest room.
Nicest room. Yeah. Nothing fancy, but again, for the tenant demographic. One little tip I would suggest, guys, when you're ever trying to sell a place or take pictures like I'm doing right now, make sure the toilet seat is shut because it looks so much better like that than when it's open.
So consensus is probably just change the vanity lights and leave it as is.
Yeah.
So far we're looking at about, what, $9,000 worth of renovations that we've talked about. So do we put the $9,000 in? That's the question.
Let's go down. Now you're going to see the beautiful basement, guys. Here, guys, our beautiful basement. You're seeing the floor and the wonderful paint on the walls. All right. Does that light work, Dennis?
No.
No?
But they're fun to play with.
Okay.
So with these properties, because the windows weren't legally okay, size-wise, no one could sleep down here. So no bedrooms could be down here.
Weren't legally good size-wise for a bedroom, but otherwise they were legally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the tour, guys. What do you guys all think?
Vintage.
Vintage. Now,
All right.
Oh, you're gonna show a little more?
Sure. I'll just. There's no light, but you get the idea, guys. Just another little
So
an
we
office, a home office.
So we had our tenants sign in
And a
notices
big
that
TV
they would
room.
not let anyone sleep in these basements because I didn't want the liability of the small windows. So I always had our tenants sign that. So what do you guys think? Do you guys like it? Is it pretty?
There's potential.
Potential. That's a word that only investors use when they see this. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Good one, Amy.
Awesome. Okay, should we go look at the numbers? Go upstairs and
Sure.
talk about the numbers?
So no, I have a question for everybody here. What would you do? Like, would you do anything in this basement?
we talked, yeah.
Would we just gut it? Would we leave it as is? Do you think it's a selling feature, the fact that it has walls and they're finished somewhat, kind of? What would you do down here? Anything?
Would just taking it back to neutral at least help paint,
The pink?
spray
Yeah.
paint, and just get it back to.
You know, I might vinyl that because it is startling to look at.
It is.
Right? I just
Well,
might
especially
vinyl.
with the floor, or I mean the wall, the pink.
I know. What goes with pink though? That you have to put a purple floor.
Opportunity. Heather says paint it. That's what Heather says, Dennis.
She's right.
Burr the basement, Ermel says. Paint and laminate flooring. Simon says we gut the basement. Excellent room for families with teenagers, Marie says. Kids playroom, Joan says. Paint and carpet, Sean and Andrea. Remove the wallpaper, paint, says Tammy. So paint is kind of a consensus for a lot of people. It looks as though the floor, somebody tried scraping it already and wasn't too successful. So I'm not sure.
Do you know what I've done? I've purchased, I don't know what they're called. They're kind of like a plasticky outdoor rug that rolls up. And I've just put it like by the same pattern.
Yeah.
Right.
And just covered the basement and like double taped it down.
Yeah, so
Oh.
we're not actually installing. It's not under the baseboard, but it's butted up against it, and
Yes.
it looks like.
And it just looks like not like this.
Yes.
Yeah. And what would that cost to fill this space?
They're like $20 a piece.
Oh, okay.
So even if you only fill it halfway and then just kind of stage over there is like
Yeah.
with like a TV or something, or chairs or something, just basically you just want to cover this up. Like,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
okay. It's not great, but it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
not this.
And probably putting in some new lighting down here, make it bright so it's not dark and dingy. Nobody likes a dark and dingy bedroom.
Okay, so
Basement, I mean.
between paint and even if we did like the super cheap, easy flooring and some lighting, we're looking at maybe $1,000 down here, right? Max, but $1,000. Okay, so we're now at what? 11? Yeah, $11,000. All right, so
Okay.
we're gonna look and see. So here's the thing: we see a lot of people will do that. They'll put the $11,000 in, which ends up being $15,000 half the time at least, right? So they'll put the money into it, and they will then expect amazing realtors like Drew and Dennis to then get them that money back out and then some. So if we were to put in all that, time, effort, plus your holding costs, all that kind of stuff, would we get back more than 135 on this? We wouldn't. So as investors, and we see this happen a lot, we want it to be pretty. And trust me, when I come down here, right, Raimi, like we want certain things. And when I come into this place and I think to myself, oh, this is embarrassing to even be showing you guys. It's horrendous. But you know what? It made us money. It did the trick. It did the job. But it's not going to get me any extra money if I put more money in. So, Dennis, what was it that you said?
Drop the price. Hope you get 105.
Drop the price. 105. I think we can get 110. What do you think?
This is on the record, Drew.
That's a no. I think that's a no.
Yeah, I saw no.
Yeah, I saw a no too. Well, and they know, right, guys? Like, I know I'm an investor, but I'm no longer in the real estate market. I am not a realtor. I'm not dealing in what buyers are doing these days. I'm not dealing in the culture out there. I don't know what's going to happen. And people will say, well, what do you think? Well, I don't know. I'm not in the market. Yeah, but you guys are in real estate. Yeah, but it's the realtors that know the numbers. He doesn't
working
even
on it
have
on
to
a
be
day-to-day
here.
basis.
But he does the comps on it. You figure it out. The numbers will tell you what to do. So at the end of the day, and you know what? I forgot. We were going to ask for voting. Who thinks we should put some money into it so that we can sell it for a little bit more? And who didn't? I was going to ask that and I forgot. But end of the day, guys, we're not putting any more money into this. We're not putting any more time into this. We're not putting any more emotion into this. We've put 15 years in. And even if we did all of the upgrades that we talked about at the cheapest ability that we could, we're still not going to walk away with any more money or any less time sold.
And maybe in the best case scenario, you might end up getting an extra $5,000 on top of what you put in. Let's just a pie in the sky that could happen. That $5,000 is not worth the extra time, effort, and emotion in this particular case. Now, that doesn't mean that it wouldn't be on every case out there, but in this particular case, the determination was it's not worth it. So let's sell it. Now, is it worth it for a new buyer who might be able to buy this at 105 or 110? Is it worth it for them to put in the $8,000-$10,000 and get it up and running?
Or even do it themselves.
Do it themselves and maybe do it for half that price. Is it worth it for them? Absolutely, especially if you're planning to keep
worth
it
it?
long term.
Yes.
What do you guys think? Yeah?
Everyone's saying yes.
Yeah. So
That
does this require a massive renovation? No. Does it require maybe 10 grand to go into it? Yeah. And you're going to attract even a better tenant and a longer term tenant. And it can be a property that's great for somebody who wants to get in at a low price for a long period of time. So one other thing that I always check out when it comes to any house is the utility room. Is there a light in there, Rainey?
It's on.
Oh, it is on. Okay.
It's gone.
This is the washer, dryer, furnace, hot water tank. Fairly standard stuff. Hasn't been upgraded. Original furnace. So it'd be almost 50 years old, that furnace, because I think these places were built in the early 1970 kind of thing. But it's all functioning and everything works. So there's been no need to upgrade it to this point.
You and the owner both have properties not too far from here, right? You're looking for a joint venture partner on yours. Was it a burr?
This is actually Forest Heights.
Okay.
Okay. We're looking at, so it's a little ways from here. I'm looking for a joint venture. It's my first preference.
Okay, because you're a flipper.
I am. So this is a burr property.
Right.
My bad.
There's always one in the crowd, isn't there?
Yeah, so it's fully renovated, fully upgraded, basement suite's legal, tenanted.
So how would a joint venture, for those that don't know what joint ventures are, how would that work? Is she on? I'll come over this way.
Yeah.
How would that work in a joint venture situation? So you have this house, you bought it, you upgraded it.
Yeah.
Is it rented out?
It is fully rented.
You rented it?
Correct.
Okay. You will continue to manage it?
Correct. So it's basically like buying a turnkey property off the market.
Yeah.
Or off MLS, but we're providing a little bit of a discount, so it's a little less than fair market value. It's already tenanted. We're familiar with the property, so we know what renovations have been done, if they were done properly.
Right.
We know the tenants. So
Yeah.
it's literally a turnkey investment.
And it's not like a guess of how much we're going to get for rent because it's already rented.
Exactly.
Awesome. So did you start it out as supposed to be a flip and decide to keep it for a burr?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you do really nice work, and so flipping out makes it.
It's just the location is so fabulous, and it still cash flows really well at the price point that we're offering at, that it kind of makes sense to keep it if we can. So,
Do you have like a quick rundown of numbers, like price point versus cash flow ish? Oh no, this isn't it. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Check your sheet.
We're just
It's okay. Just ballpark it.
we're offering it at $448. If we're managing, it's just over 600. I want to say in cash
Okay,
flow. Yeah,
nice.
so I have to.
And it's a suited up
Legally
down.
suited up, yeah.
Legally suited up down.
Yeah.
And
Everything's
all the
done.
work's been done.
Everything's done.
Nice.
Not even, you don't even need to look for tenants. There's
Nice.
tenants in there. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is that your Forest Heights?
It is. Yeah.
So amazing neighborhood, and that property, I've talked to Amy about it, amazing value, just buy it.
Dennis said just buy it.
Dennis says just buy it.
There we
Well,
go.
there we go. Okay, so let's get back to this property,
Okay.
just so everybody's not confused what we're talking about numbers wise. This property here, do you want to go through the numbers too?
Yeah, I do. Okay,
Okay, let's go through the numbers, guys. Why don't you
I'm not
take
a numbers
this
person.
and I'll go through them. Do you know how to run it?
No.
All right, guys, here's how the numbers work. Got it figured out?
Yeah.
Okay. So listed for 119 right now, but let's go back.
Yeah.
Here's the question, guys. It was bought for $111,000 15 years ago. It's now listed for $119,000. We talked about this earlier. Was this a complete waste of time? It went up $8,000. And you know what? It might not sell. We were talking about 105, 110. We might have actually lost money on this property and owned it for 15 years. But here's how the numbers work. Now follow with me as I go through this. Let's start in 2006. Bought for $112. At the time, the mortgage was $95,000, so $22,000 roughly, with closing costs and stuff like that. That's how much was invested. Okay, that was the initial investment, was $22,000. The first year, it cash flowed about $100 a month, so $1,200 was created in cash flow. In 2007, it was refinanced. The mortgage was refinanced up to $143,000. Okay, so it was valued at, I can't remember the number, but 165, 170, something like that. The mortgage was brought up to $143,000.
That was within a year.
Within 1 year, that was a $44,000 cash out in this property. Now what happened? Well, since then, since 2007, now, the value, it was up at 160, has dropped down to what we've been talking about now, around 110, 120,000. So it seems like there's a big loss there, but the beauty of it is the tenants have paid down the mortgage over that period of time. So and with the increased, remember it was refinanced, so the mortgage payment went up. Even with that, the rents also went up. So on average, it cash flowed $150 a month. Remember, Tiff said no money needed to be really put into this property for the last 15 years. It cash flowed $150 a month over 15 years is another $25,000. So $1,200 the first year, $44,000 the second year, and $25,000 of cash flow. And now the mortgage balance has been brought down to $110,000. So if this is sold for $110,000 or $112,000, let's say, something like that, including closing costs. Of course, there's realtor fees, there's those kind of things. There might be a few thousand put out to sell it now to get rid of that emotional burden. But from then till now, they turned their $22,000 investment into a $92,000 return when we combine all of those things, even though the property never went up in value.
Okay.
And what did it enable them to do too? Let's go back to that $44,000 in 2007. With
What,
that
44?
$44,000,
What 44?
the cash out with the
Oh,
from the
okay, sorry, yeah.
refinance, they were able to buy other properties with that
Art
that
showers.
also cash flowed, that also have gone actually up in value.
And so here's the thing too, is these properties we had no choice. We wanted to get into investing. They were an easy in for us. They taught us a ton. We took it. However, the next properties that we were able to buy with that money, again, this is a family member's property, those properties that we bought, we still have, we still love. We plan to keep those ones for the next 20 years. We have no plans to sell them. They're amazing tenant demographic in amazing areas. And we bought them with money that we got from this property. So that's a free property. We didn't have to put any money down on that.
Yeah.
And like Adele says, this one is also a free property because we pulled all of our money out.
That's the other thing, depending on how you look at that. If you just consider that $22,000 and all the money that's been pulled out and made in cash flow and the refinance, if you consider that profit and not a payback of your original $22,000, your ROI is 318%, which averages over 20% per year on average. That's with the real estate value going down, generally speaking.
It went down.
Not going up at all. Still an average of 20% return on investment over a 15-year period. So pretty darn good. But as Adele or somebody there mentioned, if you consider that $22,000 in the refinance being pulled out, then really there's zero money left in this 1 year into the deal. Then everything after that was profit, which actually makes it an infinite
and
return
guys,
on investment.
if we could say that there's an example of a mistake, if we could tell you an example of a mistake property that we have, this would be it. It's not beautiful. It's in rough shape. It's not going to appreciate in value any more than it has already. There's a lot of downsides to it, and yet it was a huge success and allowed us not only to be able to know what we're doing in property management and be of value to our joint venture partners and attract more money and add to our doors and add to our experience. It allowed us to buy nice properties that we actually like and are keeping, and those ones have been getting paid down for the last 14 years because that was refinanced a year out. And all of it because we bought something that we didn't necessarily want to be in, but the numbers made sense, so you do it. Same thing, guys. If you're out there and you're looking in markets where you're like $100,000 is what you're buying this thing for, let's say, and that's not even your down payment in some markets, if you have to go into a market and into a property that you don't necessarily want to, well, you know what? It's a stepping stone and it's going to get you where you want to go eventually. And there's no harm in doing it. And do I want to show you guys that this is the properties that we have? These are our nemesis properties? Yes, absolutely. But at the end of the day, if you can learn from it and we learn lessons and can get better, why wouldn't we, right?
Absolutely.
So I wanted to show the numbers now. So if you were to buy this right now and rent it only for $1,150, which we, like I said,
The other units in here are $1,200 and $1,250.
yeah, including all your fees, including property management being farmed out, repairs and maintenance at 2%, your vacancy at 3%, your condo fee or strata being at $340. So everything counted in, you're still cash flowing $100 a month, and your down payment is $25,000. This one in particular, again, this is a family member that owns this, and I've been managing them for all these years. So this one, they're willing to do some seller financing or some creative whatever if you're interested in it. We can also help you rent it. It's super easy to rent. You can see that, yeah, show, no, stay there. Everyone starts running as soon as we bring the camera. So this place faces the street instead of facing another condo, and that's one thing too you want to look for in condos that we found. We can always rent this place right away because people want to look out. They don't want to look at another building right in front of them. So yeah, lots of good stuff in
So
here.
who is this for? Number one, somebody who wants to get into real estate investment, but
don't have a lot of
don't
money
have a
down.
ton of money down. This you're in the $25,000 range. You got $25,000, want to get a door, want to get into an investment property. That's who it fits. More easier to qualify for a mortgage. Your mortgage is going to be around $100,000 on a property like this. You're going to cash flow on a property like this. You can also put a little bit of money in and do some of the things that we talked about. And if you're doing that, you're going to hopefully increase the value on the property.
Well, plus you would get, for sure you'd be getting that $1,250 or even $1,300
And-
out of it. You could,
Yes.
especially in this unit.
And exactly, Marie, the seller is willing to do creative financing. So a VTB is an option, maybe some seller financing. There's options. That's the
Cash
point.
back on closing.
Maybe some cash back to put towards the renovation. So, this is why we wanted to bring something like this on, guys. Number one, let's get creative. This is a great investment property. It's been great for us for 15 years, can be great for somebody else for another 15 years. If the right decisions are made. And so, come up with some creative options.
And you'll get a good tenant demographic here. You will. Like it seems like you won't necessarily, but because you can really hone in on, like the military isn't too far from here, so there's quite a few military families. Again, that refugee center is there, and so a lot of people are coming in and they get help on their rent for the first while and have been amazing tenants. They are so thankful to have a warm, safe place to sleep. They're amazing tenants and they don't move. That's the other thing. So remember, the stats say that newcomers to Canada will stay in the first place that they get for the first 4 years. So they often are long-term tenants. 4 years. You get one in, no turnover. You don't have to do a lot of repairs and maintenance, that sort of thing. So anyways, any closing comments from anyone?
Anybody else have anything else they wanted to add?
I do.
Okay,
All right,
Dennis.
And it's about valuation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because how do we know what this is valued at? We look at the comparable solds. And so that gives us value. So I might say that the comparable solds will show this, depending on which ones you look at, between 105 and 115. But the actual value of the property, I would put closer to around 130, 135. This is just got hit hard by sellers who've had to sell and discount their property. So every time we go to evaluate a property, look what's sold next, and it's so easy in a townhouse because, well, that one just sold, it's exactly the same. But if we look at Edmonton as a whole and the opportunity with condos in Alberta, again, just buy it.
That's going to be your new tagline, Dennis.
Oh, it's getting that for sure.
Just buy it.
Just buy it. And because the numbers work.
Yeah.
And I like townhouses and we talked about that. It's just more of an easy button. You're not settling disputes between renters. They stay longer, and because they stay longer, you're renovating less, you're advertising less, your costs are less. This is a buy at 115.
Well, look at the new windows, the new doors, the new roofs. They've already been done. And like Drew, like you deal with investors every single day, right? Sorry, I should have come over here. So you deal with investors every single day. So investors from out of town, if they're looking for properties that, are going to have a decent tenant, demographic, and are you going to set them up with property management? Are you going to set them up with the painters if they needed, the cleaners? Do you have all of those contacts for them? Yeah. So a lot of people will say, like, I can't buy these kinds of properties because I don't have I would put new flooring in here, and I don't have a flooring guy. That's when you work with the right teams, the right realtors. You have the right people on your side. You don't have to have those people.
Yeah.
Drew's going to have those people. In fact, he's an investor. How long have you been investing?
12 years?
12 years, yeah. So do you have painters that use in your own properties?
Absolutely.
Yeah, cleaners in your own properties?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So all of those people, not only do you have them on a Rolodex, but you've actually used them yourself for the most part, most of them, right? And you know that they work well with investors or your tenants and all that stuff. So makes it easy when you have a good team.
Yeah, and if anybody has questions about this, Drew's the guy to contact right now. He's the one that has it listed. Drew at albertaonfire.com, I'm assuming. Drew?
Yes.
DREW at albertaonfire.com. Where is this exactly located? So the address is 14230 80th Street. 14230 80th Street. That's where this property is located, which is considered northeast Edmonton.
And I just want to really quickly Ramy, I'm going to bug you because Ramy from Technicon, for those of you guys that don't know him, he's a great addition to your team in Edmonton. So he specializes as an investor himself, but he specializes in legally suiting basement suites so that your tenants don't fight with each other. You've said something to me before, tenants that don't see each other like each other or something? What is it? I don't know, I can't remember.
It's fully separated. The better you can separate, the better, easier it gets.
So that means a yard, entrances?
Entrances mostly, yeah. Yard sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't, but whatever you can to add value.
Yeah. So their company specializes in doing that for investors. So guys, if you're looking for a contractor, they're hands down going to make sure that you're taken care of because, I mean, people in this industry, you get bad raps real quick, right?
Yeah.
So, and you've been around how many years now, and you've got nothing but a stellar reputation. So, we wanted your input on today, even though you were like pretty quiet. But
You can always trust somebody that has their company name on their shirt.
There you go. Oh, I think it's zoomed out. Anyways, okay. Any other last words? We're good.
So I think we're good.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
All right.
Cheers,
See you guys.
Have a great week. We'll see you.
Say bye, everybody.